Now, the Hunt Palmer Show.
A magic beyond anything you could ever imagine.
You are now listening to the Hunt Palmer Show. Brought to you by Sagrera Farms on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Locking down the middle of the day.
You really think that's the best idea?
Live from the Raising Cane studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
It's quite a piece of work.
Welcome in. Hunt Palmer coming to you from the Raising Cane studio downtown in the capital city on this Thursday, working towards the weekend. Appreciate you hanging out with us. Brought to you by Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. Got Jordan Kitchens, Cassie Spazzali back there on the ones and twos. Frank Wilson, is he going to be at LSU moving forward? I'll talk about that coming up in 15 minutes. Joe Burrow is saying some weird stuff in press conferences. I want to discuss that at 1:30. Of course, we got to talk about what's going on in Ann Arbor, Michigan as well. We'll talk to Chris Blair, voice of the Tigers, at 2:15. And then we'll talk Saints and Panthers with Luke Johnson at 2:30. So lots to do, our normal Thursday stuff. We'll get things started with our first ever opening drive brought to you by Fabry Chevrolet and GMC up in St. Francisville. New ownership at the same location, been open since October 1st. Go by and see my friends at Fabry Chevrolet GMC up in St. Francisville on Highway 61. We start with the news of the day today with LSU athletics. LSU sent out a blitz on social media and on its website today at about 9 o'clock. It's kind of been a steady trickle of releases and tweets and Instagram posts since then, announcing a long-term partnership extension with Nike that is the launch of the Blue Ribbon Elite NIL campaign. And a lot of you listening probably hear that and think, why do I really care about that? Like, what does it mean? And y'all know me. I don't love to talk about stuff that happens off the field, off the court. I like games. I like to talk about games. And this is not that. This is something that is very much off the field, off the court. Now, you can earn some of this while you're playing the sports, but it's an off the field, off the court thing. But it is very relevant. So to me, I started to look into this and to try to digest it at 9:15, 9:30 this morning. And this is essentially what I've come up with here as to why it is very much relevant for you, the fan. Certainly very relevant for the student athletes. And for those that have not been made aware of this, there are 10 LSU student athletes that are joining Nike's NIL athletes. It's Kaylin Choi of gymnastics. It's Derek Curiel for baseball, Tori Edwards from softball, Kaysen Evans from baseball, Trades Green with football, Jaden Heavner with softball, Zakiah Johnson with LSU women's basketball, DJ Pickett with football, Journey Robinson from volleyball, and Didon Thomas Jr. with basketball. Those 10 are on Team Nike moving forward. And so the world of NIL is changing so rapidly. When it started, it was like, okay, college athletes can get paid. And there were some that already had massive social media followings in our local market, like Livy Dunn. She had huge Instagram numbers. So it makes sense for a clothing brand, Fiore, to come in and say, hey, put us on your Instagram page. That's worth a lot of money to us. Here's what you get paid. And so that was kind of what it was early. And you were told, like, you can't use this as a recruiting inducement. NIL is not for that. And pretty quickly, everyone looked up and went, well, who's enforcing this? Like, we can just do whatever we want. And so teams started and programs started coming up with collectives, and you raised millions of dollars, and you just kind of had to make up what kind of endorsement there might be or might not be, and just pay the players whatever you want. Boom. Carte blanche. Wild, wild west. Go get the money. And that's the point of the process where I look at this, and y'all know me in this way too. You look at me and I go, well, what does it mean for LSU? When you change the rules, how does it affect LSU? That's my first thing. It's not necessarily what's the most fair thing or what's the most reasonable thing or what's the most legal thing, says the Supreme Court. When I see a rule change, I go, well, how does that affect LSU? And I look at that and I go, well, I don't think the state of Louisiana and the LSU booster base has sufficient funds to go check for check with the Texas Longhorns or the Texas A&M Aggies or the Michigan Wolverines or the Ohio State Buckeyes. Like, that's what I think. I don't know. I'm not looking at anybody's books here. It's just what I think. It's a relatively, and I use air quotes here, poor state when you stack up all 50 of them. And I'm going, well, we don't have oil tycoons littering the suite level at Tiger Stadium like they do in College Station. So that's a little concerning that you've got to pool all this money together. And then you can just dump it on whoever you want for whatever you want. And then the rules changed. And they said, well, you can't just do that. You got to have a clearinghouse that suggests whether or not a deal is market value. And so you're curtailing things to an extent. And then they said, and there's revenue sharing. And so that completely changes the complexion of the rules financially for the players if everyone adheres to them. And I'm well aware that this entire time that I'm talking, I know that there are things that go on under the table. But just let's go with the legal stuff, and then we'll talk about why this Nike deal is impactful. So if you're operating under the rules where you've got just north of $20 million to distribute to your student athletes, and that's capped for everybody. Well, clearly LSU is on level playing field with everybody in the Southeastern Conference on that because everybody has to play by those rules. Now, you get to divvy up your just over $20 million to whatever athletes in whatever sports you want. So if Mississippi State wants to prioritize baseball because they don't know if they can compete in football, and if LSU spends more money in women's basketball because they've got a program like South Carolina might do that as well, or if however you want to divvy it, you can do it. But everybody's on a level playing field there, so you don't have to worry about equity in that way. And then you've got NIL, where you've got to have a platform to market yourself and or a business to make the money make sense. And that's where this deal comes in with Nike. Because at LSU, you don't have these bright lights outside of maybe Canes and Walk-Ons, which are national brands at this point. So you can justify big dollars from those places. Jaden Daniels can make a lot of money from Canes if he wins the Heisman Trophy and walks off the set to Canes, because that's a national advertising budget that has a lot of money in it, and it's a national stage that he's on. So the clearinghouse is going to look at that and go, yeah, absolutely. But if you've got a local business that's got 400 Instagram followers and a booster that's aggressive and wants to spend $1.5 million on a player, well, where's the exposure? Where can we justify this player getting $1.5 million? I don't see the platform. The clearinghouse could say that. This is a hypothetical, but that's what they could say. Like, what this player is doing to promote your business doesn't warrant that much money. That's denied. Well, you know who's not going to get denied? Nike. I checked Nike this morning. They have almost 300 million Instagram followers. Now, I'm not here to suggest that, and I'm picking one of the student athletes. I'll go with a sport that I love, Casey Evans, LSU baseball. Nike's not going to dump $1 million in Casey Evans' lap for an Instagram post. I don't think. Okay? That's not how this works. But you keep in mind this run that I've been talking about that LSU's on, and the stars that have been launched in Baton Rouge. Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, Jaden Daniels, Justin Jefferson. These are some of the faces of the NFL. Paul Skeens is the biggest American phenomenon in the Major League Baseball orbit. He's not Shohei, but he's next. Now, it's in Pittsburgh, but you understand this guy's setting records. He's won the Cy Young. He's won the Rookie of the Year. He started the All-Star game 2 years in a row. Everyone talks about Paul Skeens. Oh, by the way, his girlfriend, Livy Dunn, the poster child for NIL. LSU women's basketball, Angel Reese, monster star. Flau'jae Johnson, monster star and brand. These were born here in Baton Rouge. And no, local businesses can't keep up with oil tycoons in terms of dollars and cents. And the LSU booster base has a lot of successful people in it that don't necessarily have national brand recognition. None of us are going to compete with Oracle for Bryce Underwood. But Nike chose to launch this new platform where they're going to get collegiate student athletes involved and elevate them with that brand to promote Nike, and there are going to be significant dollars and cents attached to that because Nike has that kind of brand. And where'd they go first for this? The same place that Amazon went for the documentary. They went to Baton Rouge first. Now, it's not the first deal ever of its kind. There are similar deals at Tennessee and with Texas A&M. It's not exactly the same, but there are similar things that have been done, and this is going to be commonplace for these mega apparel brands. But essentially what's going on here is Nike saying, we're extending our partnership with LSU, which is a cash deal that involves merchandise as well. Nike pays LSU and then gives them a bunch of merchandise, and then LSU's a Nike school, and then you go sell retail, and all the LSU fans buy Nike, and everybody's happy, right? Okay, so now maybe a little bit less on the cash side, maybe a little bit less on the merchandise side, but same amount of expenditure by Nike, it's just being funneled to the players. And when Nike is funneling the money to the players, completely above board, completely legal, completely reasonable with the brand at LSU and with Nike. When Nike is funneling that money, every cent and every dollar that Nike sends to those LSU student athletes is $1 and a cent that this booster base doesn't have to pour into it. And if your concern as an LSU fan is, how do we keep up? This helps. Revenue sharing makes everybody on a level playing field for that $20 million. And stuff like this doesn't tax the booster base. Now, I have said on my show that right now I'm not in a position to suggest that LSU is crying poor. Every time they need another $100 million, they come up with another $100 million. So I don't know where it comes from. Not my job to go find it. But Nike has a lot. And if they can help Derek Couriel, and they can help Deadon Thomas Jr., and they can help Tradez Green and Kason Evans, DJ Pickett, Zakiah Johnson, Jaden Heavener, the biggest stars on the teams that we all care about so much across the street, that's a big deal to get those players to LSU, where it's proven time, not one guy, not one girl that made this work. This happens annually in Baton Rouge, where a star is launched. If you can come here, you can make this happen via Nike. And there's no rule that says they got to keep it to 10. And there's no rule that says that the LSU booster base can't come in and do what it can do. But the brand and the platform that Nike provides and the place that they went first to launch this is significant to me. And if you're an LSU fan that's worried about the dollars and cents and whether or not LSU can keep up, stuff like this ensures that LSU will. There's no evidence to suggest that LSU can't keep up anyway. But stuff like this is a big, big deal. That's our opening drive. We are brought to you by Fabry Chevrolet GMC in St. Francisville. We'll come back with a little bit more. I want to talk about what's going on with Frank Wilson. And there's a lot of differing opinions on that. We may get our solution here in the next 2.5 weeks. We'll talk about it next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Marucci's Hitter's House. Marucci's Hitter's House. Awesome place to get on by and score big with deals at the Hitter's House at Marucci. You've got one more day in the week and then the weekend to come, and then you're going to have missed it. So get on by today, tomorrow, Saturday, Sunday, and see him at Marucci at the Hitter's House warehouse sale. They've got incredible gear from Marucci, Victus, Balm, Lizard Skins. You can shop and save with their warehouse sale. If you got a fast-pitch softball player in your house, you already know about the Marucci Asura. Got to go check it out. It's the hottest new fast-pitch bat that is taking over. If you've got a baseball player, youth baseball player in your house, Marucci and Victus are the official bats of Major League Baseball. You can get the best deals on the top baseball equipment at the Hitter's House. So go by and see him. You can score even bigger discounts, 15%, when you become a member. And you can take that site tour as well to get even more discounts over at the Hitter's House. It's the Hitter's House at Marucci.
In South Louisiana, you can always count on good people coming together to help our children.
At Dreams Come True, we grant wishes for Louisiana children with life-threatening illnesses. But to do this, we need funds.
That's why we're trying to raise $100,000 for Dreams Come True by giving away the Blessed Builder School.
Make your backyard's dream come true while helping our kids.
Just go to dreampoolla.com and you can find out how your $25 donation might help win you a Duplessis pool.
Every winner knows a great play starts with a solid game plan and the right team by your side. At Sunshine, we're here to keep your operation running strong. From tractors to harvesters, we've got the John Deere equipment you need to tackle every job with confidence. Because when the work's done right, there's more time for the things that matter, like cheering on your favorite team. Make Sunshine Quality Solutions part of your playbook this season and learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Looking for cleaner energy? Propane is energy for everyone. And when you're cooking with clean, affordable propane, you're cooking with gas. In the wintertime, nothing heats a home like Louisiana propane. And when you need hot water, propane's got you covered. Oh, and you won't regret that propane generator when the power goes out. I'm Miss Louisiana, Gabrielle McLeod, and to find more information and to find a propane dealer near you, visit louisianapropane.com.
After a decade of working in private duty nursing, I know how hard it can be to find compassionate care for the ones that you love the most. So I started Decision Critical, a premier concierge nursing agency, so we can take care of you wherever you are. Our highly skilled nurses provide exceptional care from the comfort of your own home with personalized packages for short-term, long-term, or even around-the-clock care. Visit us at decisioncriticalbr.com and give us a call today to get started.
I'm Lawyer Locke Meredith. If you're battling an insurance company because of a wreck not your fault and they're not calling you back or being fair, whether you hire us at all, give us a call, 272-5555, or email LockeMeredith, Sean Fagan and Associates. You have nothing to lose.
Hello, I'm Collins Meredith. If you've been injured on the job, you likely have a workers' compensation claim, but you may also have a tort claim which opens up significant recovery rights not normally available for a work injury. If this is you, call us or come see us at Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates.
Raising Cane's is our victory meal. Football fans are some of the most dedicated fans in sports. It's a fundamental quality.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
Thursday shows are brought to you by Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. I was talking to Sean Segura a little bit earlier today. We're talking about beef, as we do. He said that the supply of cattle right now in America is equal to what it was in the 1950s. Well, as you can imagine, our population's grown a little bit since then. So you look at supply and demand for beef, and you're talking about a significant demand and not enough supply, and that's why you've seen prices rise and rise and rise. You notice when you go buy your beef, if you're going to pay a premium, which everyone is at this point, why don't you just get a premium product? You go to Sagrera Farms, and you know that you're getting prime beef. You know that you're getting one DNA in that cow that you're getting, that quarter, side, whole cow. You know that it's going to be some of the most flavorful, well-marbled, tender beef that you've ever eaten. And you can fill your freezer with it so that you don't have to deal with varying beef prices until that's gone. It's a different way to go about buying your beef. And you're getting some of the best quality product in the country 30 miles outside Baton Rouge. So you call Sean, you say, hey, heard about you on the Hunt Palmer Show, and I'm ready to do beef purchasing a different way. You call him at 719-1723. That's 719-1723. Call him on a Sunday. He'll answer. Call him on a Tuesday. He'll answer. He said some people call and they feel they're going to get an answer machine. No, you're getting Sean Sell. He'll answer, I promise you. And you'll get some of the best beef you have ever eaten right there on your home base. Sagrera Farms brings you our Thursday shows each and every week. All right, I want to talk about assistant coaches, and specifically, I want to talk about Frank Wilson. We're looking at what Lane Kiffin's staff is likely to look like at LSU. And a lot of this is not official, but we've got enough information to know this is where things are headed. And so on the defensive side of the ball, Blake Baker's coming back. And we feel confident in suggesting that Jake Olson and Kevin Peoples, who are his guys, are going to come coach the safety, are going to remain to coach the safeties and coach the edge rushers. And you feel like Corey Raymond is certainly back coaching the corners. Now, defensive line coach, there may be a shakeup. I don't expect Kyle Williams back. So you've still got to look at defensive line. But the defense is kind of set up. And then you look on the offensive side, and Kiffin's going to be in charge of that, and Charlie Weiss Jr. will be there as well. And you've got Joe Cox, who is here with the tight ends, and George McDonald, who is here with the wide receivers, and then Dane Stevens is going to coach the quarterbacks. And you've kind of got where that's going to be set up, and you don't feel like Brad Davis will be back on the offensive line, so you're going to have to handle that situation. You feel like you've got that in Wolford from Kentucky. So that leaves running backs. Running backs and defensive line, basically. Not officially, but basically. And there are a lot of differing opinions on Frank Wilson and whether or not you'd like him back at LSU next year. This is my take on it. LSU recruited New Orleans before Frank Wilson was on staff. LSU has recruited New Orleans with Frank Wilson on staff. LSU will recruit New Orleans, well, without Frank Wilson on staff. Whenever that time comes. It might come in 3 weeks. It might come in 7 years. I don't know. I know that, and everyone knows that. Frank Wilson's not the only reason that LSU can go get good players out of New Orleans. But I do know this. I know that Frank Wilson has deep, deep, deep ties to that city. Everybody knows Coach Frank. I know that he's recruited that city exceptionally well while he's been at LSU. Has he gotten every player out of New Orleans? No. Recruiting is not a 100% game. It's not a zero-sum game. It's hits and misses. But it would be inarguable to suggest that Frank Wilson doesn't give you good access to New Orleans and great relationships to New Orleans. It's also inarguable that New Orleans is the most important city to this football program. You can try to suggest something else. You could try to tell me the Baton Rouge area has pumped out great players, and it has. You could try to tell me that LSU has made hay in Acadiana, and you could. And you could try to tell me that North Louisiana produces some really good players, but nothing is on the level of New Orleans. You can run down the list. It goes on and on and on and on. Leonard Fournette. I'm not even going to go down the list. It's Jamar Chase. It's Justin Jefferson. It's a ridiculous list. Tyrann Mathieu. But Frank Wilson has made a career, a role out of that city. And I think there's a chance that if you let Frank Wilson go and you bring in Kevin Smith, who we'll talk about the term sheet, like there's reportedly a term sheet that he signed to stay at Ole Miss. I don't know the legality of that, and I'm not 100% sure on that. So I'm going to play the speculation game like maybe it's him, maybe it's Frank Wilson, maybe it's somebody else. But there's a chance that if you go get Kevin Smith to be your running backs coach, that he doesn't recruit that city as well. That he doesn't have those relationships, and that you do let some guys slip through the cracks. I would suggest that chance is higher if you move on from Frank Wilson and go get Kevin Smith. Now, I also have reason to believe that Lane Kiffin has worked with Kevin Smith for a decade and that he's been a trusted recruiter and he's coached running backs. And if Lane Kiffin hires Kevin Smith, I will understand that. I will disagree with it, but I will understand that. But you saw what happened with Corey Raymond 4 years ago. And there were a lot of people in this fan base that went, you know, this guy's not recruiting the same level. We're not as good on the defensive backfield. Like, it's time for a fresh face. Like, move him along. Huh? That's not great. The proof is so much in the pudding. Your defensive back play fell off a cliff, and you had to bring him back to patch that up, and he immediately elevated it to the National True Freshman of the Year by On 3 and DJ Pickett, and a Thorpe finalist in the best cover corner in the country in Mansour Delane. It took that long. Do you want to run the risk that the same thing could happen in New Orleans? I'm not telling you it will. I just don't want to mess with it. And if you do decide to move on from Frank Wilson and go get Kevin Smith or someone else, and either Ole Miss or Texas hires him as the running backs coach, hypothetically, as Pete Nichols at On 3 reported yesterday, Frank Wilson's on their list at running backs coach. Do you want Texas's war chest and that brand and all that money on Frank Wilson's chest going into that city while you're trying to recruit it with a new guy in Kevin Smith and a new guy in Lane Kiffin? Do you want to try that? I'm not telling you that it won't work out for LSU, but I'm not really interested in trying it that much. I know Mike Wallace left O.P. Walker and went to play for Frank at Ole Miss and became an NFL star. I know when Frank was on staff for like 10 minutes at Tennessee, he got Anthony Johnson to commit, and never mind what Anthony Johnson did at LSU or didn't and what he didn't do in the NFL. When he was a recruit, he was as big a recruit as there was in the country. And Frank Wilson had him pack his bags for Knoxville before Lane left for USC. And Jarvis Landry was next. I just don't want to mess with that. I don't want to mess with New Orleans. And you could point to Jakeem Stewart and say he got out, and you can point to Aaron Anderson and say he got out. And again, Frank doesn't get them all. But I think he gives you a real good chance to go in there and get the talent that's on hand. I think he helped a lot with Richard Anderson this year and Aiden Hall this year. And there are more coming down the pike. And you may say, well, he's awful at coaching running backs. Okay. Fournette seemed to run okay. Guys seemed to run okay. Jeremy Hill ran okay. They were NFL backs. They had great offensive lines. I would submit Leonard Fournette would not have been any good running behind that offensive line the last 2 years. It's my guess. I can't prove it. It's my guess. I listen to Jacob Hester sit here all the time and say you can't teach running the ball. You can either run the ball or you can't. That's a guy who was a stud at LSU and played in the NFL forever. Like, I'll take his word for it. I don't think Frank doesn't know how to coach pass protection. I don't think Frank has lost the ability to teach guys to create positive yardage on the ground. I think LSU's scheme and offensive line stunk the last 2 years in run blocking, and that's why I don't think they've run the ball very well. I don't think it's because the position coach doesn't know what he's doing. You want to quibble with who gets the carries? I'll listen to that. I will listen to that. But I'm also here to tell you that whoever LSU's running back coach is under Lane Kiffin and his offense and the space it creates and the tempo it creates and what they've done on the ground with just about everybody that's rolled through there, like, I think the running backs are going to find some places to run under Lane Kiffin. I don't think it's the running backs coach's job to make sure the running back runs for 1,000 yards. That's my opinion. And I just don't want to rock the boat in New Orleans unnecessarily. So here's kind of where I stand on it in a big picture. If Lane Kiffin thinks that Kevin Smith is the best running back coach in the country, is a great recruiter and a guy that understands his scheme and offense and can come in and run his system well, and that's the guy he wants to do it, I will understand that. Kevin Smith has clearly done a very good job for Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss. I will understand that. I will disagree with it, but I will fully understand it. If Kevin Smith stays at Ole Miss and LSU moves on for some other running backs coach at LSU, I will say that's a mistake. I said it was a mistake to walk away from Corey Raymond. It will be a mistake to watch Frank Wilson walk out that door. That's my opinion. And I don't know what's going to happen, and I don't know if Kevin Smith's term sheet is binding, and I don't know what kind of relationship Lane Kiffin and Frank Wilson have today as opposed to what they had in 2009 at Tennessee, and I don't know everything that happened last week in football ops with all the recruiting stuff and the conversations. I don't know. Rumors swirl, things are said, whatever. But I know right now that we don't have a public declaration as to what the future is for Frank Wilson on Lane Kiffin's staff or not. And I'm just tossing my chip in the ring. I'm giving you my opinion on this situation. That man and that city, I just would not mess with at that spot on the staff. I think that the recruiting aspect of what he can bring is more significant than purely looking at the stat sheet and going, well, LSU sure didn't run it very well this past 2 years. That to me is insignificant when you bring in a new coach, a new scheme, and I think you're going to open things up. I would not rock that boat in New Orleans. There are some things you can do your own way when you come to LSU and you're a head coach. Rocking the boat in New Orleans is just not one I'm willing to get on board with. That's where I'm at on that one. All right, we'll come back with a little bit more. What do we got next? I'm not sure. Sometimes I have to look at what the schedule looks like. Oh, Joe Burrow's saying weird stuff. I got thoughts on that. It's next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com is the website. David Vaughn and his team, 30 years redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. Safety can be a big issue in the bathroom, especially as folks age. It can be hazardous, and you can't take those hazards completely away, but you can mitigate against them. Non-slip floors can mitigate against slip and fall. So can guardrails for slippery areas. Make things a little bit easier, more comfortable, safer with a walk-in tub, shower with a bench. All these could be significant difference makers. If you never considered that as someone in your life ages and you think, that might be something I want to look into, just have a free conversation with David Duvall in One Bath and Closet. He's been doing this for 30 years. He knows what he can do. He knows how he can help you. He can put together a plan and execute, and I can promise you this. They're going to do it right the first time and leave the competition behind. It's not one of those deals where they get the job done as quickly as possible, take your check, and move on. They get it right the first time. And if you're looking for financing options, they've got those as well. 0% up to 18 months, same as cash. It's One Bath and Closets. You can find them online at onebathandclosets.com.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe. My whole team on wild.
Looking for cleaner energy? Propane is energy for everyone. Propane water heaters are very cost efficient, and the savings are even greater with a tankless propane water heater. We all know that Louisiana propane is a safe and environmentally friendly fuel. So why not go green while you save some green? I'm Miss Louisiana, Gabrielle McLeod, and for more information, visit louisianapropane.com.
Sometimes you ignore the signs, even when they're right in front of you. Problem gambling isn't always easy to spot. Know the signs. Set your limit. Learn more about healthy gambling habits by visiting us online or text or call for free confidential help now.
Hi, I'm Mitchell Meredith with Locke Meredith Sean Fagan & Associates. We take great pride in educating our clients about their rights. Whether you're injured at work or while you drive, call our office at 272-5555. Knowledge is power, and you should know your rights after an injury.
Hi, I'm Sean Fagan of Locke Meredith Sean Fagan & Associates. When insurance companies have been unfair, we've never been afraid to go to trial. Fighting hard to protect your rights, we never settle a case out of convenience. We only settle when it's right for you. Whether you hire us at all, give us a call.
With all the delicious chicken finger options, it was an impossible decision.
How about a box combo? Good. Now what can I get for you?
No, I want a Caniac combo with extra cane sauce, no slug.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
Thursday show is brought to you by Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. We'll talk about Sharon Moore in Michigan coming up in the final segment of the hour here, and we'll get to Chris Blair and Luke Johnson in hour number 2. Usually in radio, it's best to play a soundbite that's 8 seconds, 14 seconds, 22 seconds. It's short, it's got a punch, it changes the rhythm of things, you can react to it. That's generally speaking what you would like to do. But at times you want to feel the mood. You want to feel something that's a little bit more substantial than just a short clip. And so I'm going to play a longer bite of Joe Burrow meeting with the media yesterday. And I do it because it just didn't sound like the guy that I've known since 2018. That's now 7 years that we've known Joe. And we know him as this football junkie who loves the game, loves to compete. And there was a different tone yesterday, and you can understand why. He's mired in another what's going to be a lost season. He got hurt again. They're bad. And it's clearly weighing on him. So we're going to play this. That's almost 2 minutes long. Again, I'm not going to do this very often, but I just think that setting the tone, you're going to miss some of the questions that are asked. But I think what's important is to hear what he has to say, how kind of dark is probably the wrong word, but like it's a different vibe from Joe. So here's what he had to say about the state of things right now in Cincinnati and with him.
Change the way that you view the game?
No, it certainly doesn't change my desire to win. If I want to keep doing this, I have to have fun doing it. I've been through a lot, and if it's not fun, then what am I doing it for? So that's the mindset I'm trying to bring to the table.
How much fun are you having right now? Is it difficult to have fun given the season, what you've been through physically, emotionally, all of it? Is it tough?
Yeah, certainly.
Did you have fun playing before how much of it was fun before? Winning's always fun, but in general, was it as fun before you got hurt? Did you view it that way, at least?
No, I wouldn't say I viewed it that way. I think.
What was the changing point?
Changing point. I'm not sure there was a singular moment or of time. It's just a reflection on a lot of things that I've done and been through in my career. I think I've been through more than most, and certainly not easy on the brain or the body. So just trying to have fun doing it again.
You seem like
it's when the biggest quote in that bite was, "If I want to keep doing this, I have to have fun doing it. If I want to keep doing this." The Joe Burrow that I've always known, and not that I've known him personally at all, I've never met Joe Burrow, but I've listened to him talk a lot. The Joe Burrow I know comes down on his LSU recruiting visit and says, "I'm not going out. I don't care about seeing any classrooms. I don't care about having any fun. Like, show me the football. How do we win?" The Joe Burrow I know starts a fight in practice with Patrick Queen because he wants to win so badly. The Joe Burrow that I know is emotional in his Heisman Trophy speech. The Joe Burrow that I know is so obsessed with football. And to hear that he's being very reflective and that there are a lot of things going on right now, and if I want to keep doing this, is just not what I have heard from him for 7 years. And I understand where he's coming from. Like, the thing that makes the losing worse, I think, for him, and the injuries and the lost seasons worse, is that he climbed the mountain in year 2. In year 2, they were in the Super Bowl. They went to Arrowhead and beat Patrick Mahomes in the middle of that dynasty with the lowly old Bengals. And they had Jamar Chase on a rookie deal. And he was thought to be one of the top 3 or 4 quarterbacks in the NFL. And like, we're going to do this every year. We're going to be right there in the mix every year. And then you get back into the playoffs the next year and you get beat. And then you get hurt. And you keep starting 0-2 and 1-3 and fighting all the way back to come up short. And then you get hurt again after you start 2-0. And like that sucks mentally. But I would expect Joe to come back and go, "No, I'm still a great player. We've still got a great team. Like, we've caught some bad breaks, but we're moving in the right direction and we're going to be okay." But instead, it's, if I want to keep doing this. And the name that immediately comes to your mind, immediately, is Andrew Luck. Like, their pedigree is so similar. The Luck didn't win the Heisman or the national championship, but he was thought of as the guy coming out of college. Like, this is a prototypical guy. And he made the Colts really, really good, really, really fast after that 1-year crater after Manning. But then the concussion started to pile up and they weren't as good. And he finally looked up and went, I'm good. Now, Luck always came across to me as a guy that had different interests and was a little bit quirky. And Joe's certainly quirky, but I always thought of him as like football, football, football. He did an interview with Pardon My Take, Dan Katz and PFT commenter, where they said, look, if you could win one Super Bowl, but you would be guaranteed to never win another one, or go play, like, what would you do? And he said, well, I would go play. I'm going to win 3 or 4. Like that. He was so excited. Like, he didn't want to just settle for one. Like, I'm going to win a bunch. And I realized that the tenor in Pardon My Take, which is a goof around podcast, and then a December media session with another lost season when you're coming off of an injury and a really tough loss last week at Buffalo, is completely different. This is a much more somber setting. But, like, if I want to keep doing this, I have to have fun doing it. That's brutal. And maybe that's just the December blues kicking in here for a team that's going nowhere. And maybe just everything is restored when you get out there for mini camp and training camp kicks off in late July. Like, maybe it just completely flips on its head. And I'm hopeful for that. I think all of us around here would like to see Joe back on that stage at some point. And I think all of us thought once he got there that, like, okay, the Bengals have got this figured out and they'll be back. But it's hard. Like, it puts into perspective how awesome the Patriots were and how awesome these Chiefs are and the consistency that Philly has been able to create. Because you realize, like, the Saints got to the stage one time with Drew Brees. I don't think there's anyone who would put Drew Brees outside of the top 10 or 12 quarterbacks of all time, and I'm being conservative on that. And they got there once. It's hard. And now it kind of feels the same because we feel like Brees was propping up a terrible organization again. I thought when Brees was finishing up, like, this is Saints organization's really set up to do some great things. And then he left, and we know that they're not. And I hated to hear that from Joe because I think most of you, like me, derive some real joy from watching him play. And this has just been a tough NFL season for all the South Louisiana folks who I know live and die with the Saints, and that's been tough. And then I know that there's an off-ramp there where, okay, well, what's Joe doing? Nothing. What's Jaden doing? Nothing. Malik's hurt. Like, it's been, like, your LSU guys have had a dismal season. And Burrow's chief among those. And he's still got plenty of prime football left in him. We've seen great, great quarterback play at 32, 33, 34, 35. And so Joe can do that. But now I'm questioning whether or not he wants to, and I don't even want to have that discussion. So hopefully this is just a tough spot for him, and he breaks out of it. I know that I don't have a lot of confidence in the Bengals organization to get it right, and that's a bummer. That's part of going number 1 overall when you, generally speaking, go to a pretty bad organization. But it struck me yesterday hearing that from Burrow and, like, what he sounded like at this point in the calendar, and then it just sounded completely different anything I've ever heard from him. So hopefully just a blip, and when next year they come back and they can make a push. It's always going to be a Saints region down here. I would never suggest otherwise, ever. But there are a lot of us that would like to see the Bengals do well while Joe's there, certainly with Jamar with him. And who knows how much longer we can watch that duo do it. And eventually there'll become a time where it's all a distant memory. I don't want to get there just yet. So I'm hopeful, but yesterday was a bit of a bummer hearing that from Joe Burrow up in Cincinnati. So we'll take a time out. We'll come back and kind of dissect what's next up there in Ann Arbor and how does it affect LSU. We'll do that when we come back.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Brand new sponsor here on the Hunt Palmer Show, Fabry Chevrolet GMC. You know the Fabry name. They've been in business in our area for 35 years. 3 locations, 5 brands, you know them. But just opened up in the Chevrolet store right there on Highway 61 in St. Francisville. Under new ownership, so if you're looking for a Tahoe, Silverado, Sierra, Yukon, Denali, that's your stop. Fabry Chevrolet GMC. They pride themselves on their reputation in this town. You know you can trust that family because you know you've trusted them for better than 3 decades. And now they've got new makes, Chevrolet and GMC, up there on Highway 61 in St. Francisville. You can see the entire inventory there at FabryChevrolet.com. Invite you to go there first just to see what they've got to offer you. We know that December is a big car buying month, so going to get on by there and see what they've got in terms of those Tahoes, Silverados, Sierras, Yukons, Denali's, all the Chevrolet and GMC models. They got you covered at Fabry Chevrolet GMC up in St. Francisville. Fabry Chevrolet GMC, new sponsor here on the Hunt Palmer Show. Go see them in St. Francisville.
South Louisiana, it's turnaround season, and River Parish Contractors is calling in the best of the best. We're hiring pipe fitters, iron workers, boiler makers, combo and structural welders, rig welders, carpenters, crane operators, dirt operators, and more. If you're ready to work, ready to earn, and ready to build something that lasts, call Big Jake at 318-547-1000 or go to rpcontractors.com. River Parish Contractors. Let's get building.
My father, J.B. Falgu, had a vision of growth for First American Bank and the communities we serve. The bank's foundation was built on his legacy of compassion, loyalty, and dedication. Through his years of leadership, First American has prospered to heights even J.B. could not have imagined. I know my father would be extremely proud of the customer service and financial stability that First American provides to Southeast Louisiana. We continue to thrive because of the legacy of J.B. Falgu.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Sometimes you ignore the signs, even when they're right in front of you. Problem gambling isn't always easy to spot. Know the signs, set your limit. Learn more about healthy gambling habits by visiting us online or text or call for free, confidential help now.
Most roofers just replace your shingles. At Pelican, we diagnose your roof, digging deep down to find the root cause of your roof symptoms. Now cough for me? Good. We don't ignore your roof's issues, we address them. Let's just take care of this right here, helping your roof to become the best version of itself. Interesting that you would say that. How does that make you feel? So call Pelican Roofing for your free roof checkup today.
This menu is a masterpiece, delivers every...
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
Wrapping up hour number one here. Thursday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. We're brought to you by Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. I give you Sean Sagrera's cell phone number every single day if you're looking for some of the finest beef you have ever tasted. You can call Sean, 719-1723. Again, 719-1723. Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. So the biggest story, obviously, in the college football world right now is what happened in Ann Arbor, Michigan yesterday with the termination of Sharon Moore for cause. An inappropriate relationship with a staffer was uncovered. Moore was then arrested and booked into jail based on an assault charge. And so when I read this story, the first thing I think about, which is a detail that I learned in the minutes and hours to come after the story was put out, is that you're talking about a family that has 3 daughters. And that life is never going to be the same. And that, to me, is the biggest story, because Michigan's going to be fine in football, and the Michigan players are going to be fine in football. And yes, the coaching staff there, when Michigan hires a new coach, it may uproot some families, and that's a big deal too, but that just happens in a coach's life. But that news, that's the first thing that shook me. And so it's insignificant in the sports realm of this, but it was the first thing I thought of. But we're here to talk about sports. So we'll talk about sports. I expect Michigan to step up here and make a play. When Jim Harbaugh exited, I thought they made a lazy and weak hire of Sharon Moore. They were at the top of the sport. They were a playoff team perennially. They had just won a national championship, and they handed keys to the next guy, which I told you I didn't think was great in College Station with baseball. I don't think it's great in Knoxville with baseball. I don't think it's great in Oxford with football. I think that when you're a brand like Michigan football, to just toss the keys to the next guy, who I don't think had proven himself to earn that, I think you're taking a huge risk. And I think that showed last year when they could not complete a forward pass. And then they were mediocre this year. Now, you had a freshman quarterback, and you sent him out there, but you weren't very good. And the program's taken a dip. But it's still a premier program. And I expect them to call some of the hottest names in the sport. Like, I think you're going to get a phone call to Clark Lee. I think that's going to happen. I think Kalen DeBoer is going to get a phone call. And whether or not guys in that realm want to jump remains to be seen. I don't think Lane Kiffin's an option. And I don't think that you're going to see Kalen DeBoer go to Michigan and Lane Kiffin go to Alabama. I know that a lot of folks have always thought that Lane Kiffin felt like Bama was the best job. I told you this last week. I read tea leaves. I don't have direct sourcing on this. I read tea leaves. I believe, based on Lane Kiffin's press conference and what he was and what he wasn't willing to say in that microphone, I think Nick Saban directly told him, LSU is a better job than Alabama. That's the best job you can take. You need to take it. That's what I think Nick Saban told him, based on what Kiffin said last week. So I don't think he's going to, after saying LSU is special and different and all those kind of things, and becoming the national punchline that he did become last week, I don't think he's just going to up in a week and a half later go to Michigan. Or go to Alabama. Sorry, go to Alabama. If Kalen DeBoer went to Michigan. I just don't think that's realistic. I think he's got the job that he wants to hang out for a bit, unless the NFL calls. That's my opinion. But I think Michigan's going to take a big swing here because they didn't last time, and I think they paid for it. And I think the booster base sat on its hands during the early NIL stuff because like Jim Harbaugh wasn't big on it and realized, okay, we don't really need to do that. And then they realized, okay, you really do need to do that. And you saw how they can flex their muscles. The endowment at Michigan is massive. It's not just Larry Ellison. It's not just Dave Portnoy. This is a big boy finances at Michigan. And it's not like Sharon Moore is leaving this program in sort of NCAA peril like Jim Harbaugh did. Got a show cause, the whole thing. Like, this is a Sharon Moore issue. He's not coaching at Michigan because of his decision-making. So you come in there and you got the ability to shake some things up. And I think they will do that. And so while everyone's looking, well, who are they going to hire? Who are they going to hire? Like, who is Penn State going to hire? I think Michigan will step up and hire a sitting coach with a big-time resume. That's what I think. And could it be Kalen DeBoer? Like, maybe. It would not shock me if he did that. Now, there are folks on Twitter going, well, Kalen DeBoer just said last week he has no intention of leaving, and like he reaffirmed himself at Alabama. Well, that was before he got smashed in the conference championship, and the vibes in Tuscaloosa are terrible, which they always were going to be when Nick Saban left. The next guy had almost no chance to appease that fan base. Almost none. And if you, a South Dakota native, would like to get out of that pressure cooker and go up there to Ann Arbor, closer to home, where things don't feel the same, and the last coach was more embarrassing than legendary, if we're being honest, well, that may be a more palatable situation for you. I don't know what Kalen DeBoer wants to do, but it would make sense to me if he left. So I think this is going to shake up college football's coaching carousel again, because with Michigan coming open, that could shake it up. And if Alabama came open, that's shaken up again. Like, I think you're still shaking this thing up. But again, to kind of circle back, like I think about those 3 kids, and that's just a life-changing day for them yesterday. And obviously it is for Sherrod Moore, but you gotta lay in the bed you made. So we'll see what comes of all that. But I think Michigan football has a chance to upgrade at head coach with what they do next, and I think they will. That's my opinion on that situation. That's our look at the University of Michigan. All right, if you missed any of hour number 1, you can catch it on demand. I talked about LSU and their Nike partnership, what that means for LSU, quote-unquote, keeping up with the Joneses. I think it's a big deal. Also talked a little bit about Frank Wilson and my thoughts why he should stay at LSU. You can find those at Hunt on LSU on YouTube, wherever you find your podcast. Do you have to talk about the Saints? We'll do that coming up at the bottom of the next hour. Chris Blair with us in 20 minutes. Don't go anywhere. We'll pause for national headlines with SportsCenter. It's a Thursday edition of The Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Swing Easy Golf Club in Baton Rouge. SwingEasyGCBR.com. Weekend's coming. You don't have a tee time, but you'd like to play some golf? I can fix that. Swing Easy Golf Club. And the golf round's not going to take 5 hours. And you don't have to worry about holding up the course if you're not great. And you can play Pebble Beach with some buddies and some cold drinks and some football on TV. How's all that sound? You can do it all at Swing Easy Golf Club. Great place to hang out, play on the golf simulator, practice on the golf simulator, play with your buddies, do it by yourself. You're right there in a private bay in Swing Easy Golf Club. They've got music options where you can customize your tunes. You can customize the television. As I mentioned, they've got beer, seltzers, wine right there for purchase, or you can bring some in. Just hang out. Play some golf without having to go to the course and spend 5.5 hours out there and not knowing what the weather's going to be like. It's just a new way to experience golf. Swing Easy Golf Club, they're on Swegan at Perkins. They're online at swingeasygcbr.com.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool. The first time I saw this beautiful pool, it exceeded every expectation that I had. They were able to get everything we wanted in this pool. It is a beautiful pool. We live out here, we eat out here, we watch TV out here. This is like our living room outside. We love this pool and everything about it. When we decided to build our pool, we called a great friend who is one of the best pool builders in the country in North Louisiana, and we said, who would you choose to build a pool in Baton Rouge? And without a hesitation, he told us Russell Pools. He said their history, tradition of great builds, great pools was unmatched. So of course, who did we call? Russell Pools. The advice I would give to anyone looking to build a pool is first call Russell Pools. They'll do an incredible job. It'll be incredibly organized. It'll be time efficient, and you will have your pool in no time.
BRAC teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. BRAC, your #1 park system in the nation.
Lock Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates has won for our clients over $175 million over the decades, but our greatest success is our clients who have chosen and trusted us to help them. Whether you hire us at all, give us a call. You've got nothing to lose.
Hi, I'm Sean Fagan. If you get injured, you could be staring at medical bills, repair costs, and lost income. Life can be turned upside down. At Lock Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates, we'll work to turn your world right side up. Hire us, and like thousands of our clients, you'll be glad you did.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
When it comes to choosing energy for your family and your home, make the smart choice with natural gas. You can count on efficient and affordable natural gas to keep you comfortable and reduce your environmental impact to help protect our planet. Together, we're fueling our energy future. Atmos Energy.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Nick DeLuca. Final month of the NFL season. The Steelers making a push for the playoffs, but monitoring the status of star edge rusher T.J. Watt. Watt is in a local hospital for further lung evaluation after experiencing discomfort at the practice facility yesterday, and his status for Monday night's game against the Dolphins is up in the air. The injury occurred during treatment at the team facility. Yesterday, he had 6 tackles, including 1 tackle for loss and a QB hit in the win against the Ravens on Sunday, where he played 88% of the defensive snaps. The Steelers lead the AFC North by a game at 7-6. Elsewhere, the Ravens reached a 3-year extension with defensive tackle Travis Jones to avoid a grievance about his free agent eligibility. Deal is worth $40.5 million, keeping him in Baltimore through 2028. In baseball, the Braves bolstering their bullpen. Atlanta agreeing to a 3-year, $45 million contract with former Padres closer Robert Suarez. Led the NL with 40 saves and 45 chances last season.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy. Coming up Friday, I'll tell you the one team that has the most pressure on them this weekend if they want to make the playoffs. It's Unsportsmanlike, weekday mornings at 6, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Now, the Hunt Palmer Show.
A magic beyond anything you could ever imagine.
You are now listening to the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Locking down the middle of the day.
You really think that's the best idea?
Live from the Raising Cane's studio, this is Hunt Palmer.
It's quite a piece of work.
Hour 2, Thursday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show, working towards the weekend. Chris Blair coming up in 15 minutes. We'll talk to Luke Johnson at the bottom of the hour about the New Orleans Saints. I learned something this morning. It's not a great reflection on my keeping up with my job, but I learned something this morning. LSU's football schedule comes out tonight. I didn't know that.
Wait, wasn't already out?
We have the opponents.
Oh,
we don't have the dates.
Okay, all right, yeah.
I did not know that until today. So that's good. We'll learn some stuff. The first ever 9-game SEC schedule, and we'll learn what LSU's dates are for the season. Right now, we only have 2 games locked in. We know that LSU will host Clemson in the opener. That's September the 5th. And we know that LSU will play McNeese on October the 3rd. That's all we have. So it would stand to reason LSU will be non-conference around the Clemson game. We have one opponent missing from LSU. We know it's not going to be an FCS opponent because they play McNeese. It wouldn't surprise me to see Louisiana Tech pop up on LSU schedule next year. That announcement's going to be made. Not saying it's Louisiana Tech, but an announcement on LSU's final and 12th opponent will be made in the coming weeks. We know that. But we will learn the dates of LSU's SEC games. And I think there are some things to look at in this scheduling release. One is obviously what everyone, it wouldn't be surprised me if it was one of the first things they talked about on the SC Network release, which, by the way, is at 7 o'clock tonight, Central Time, if you want to watch. When is LSU going to Oxford? Like, that's what everyone is going to be thinking about. And I'll tell you this. Halloween is on a Saturday this year.
No, don't tell me this.
So LSU and Ole Miss have always been Halloween night. It's been jumbled a little bit in recent years, but that was the date. That's when LSU and Ole Miss played. So if you want to have LSU in Oxford, Saturday night, Halloween, October 31st, Billy Cannon, the whole thing. I know that was in Baton Rouge, but the whole thing, you could do it. Now, LSU has traditionally, over the last 20 years, had a bye that week going into Alabama.
Yeah.
Bama's always the 1st of November. LSU's always a bye week on Halloween. It's always been how it's been. But who knows what the SEC wants to do. It wouldn't shock me if they slam that thing all the way up in the front of the season, quite frankly.
All right, I'm going to be real. That's kind of poetic because, Lane Kiffin wanted night games at Ole Miss. So his return would be a night game. That's
I'll
crazy.
tell you this. If Lane Kiffin wants a night game in Oxford, Mississippi, he's getting one. That game is going to be in prime time, no matter what. So he's going to get that. And then the question comes, where is the bye week? And then here's just a general feeling that I have as far as LSU goes. I think it's likely, in my opinion, that LSU is better at the end of October and into November than they are early on in the season. It's a new coach. It's going to be a new quarterback, whole new offensive system. Your defense is going to have continuity, but you also are going to have to overhaul the entire defense. So I think that LSU is going to be better later in the season under this coaching staff with all the shakeup you're going to see. And so there are some games that I think should be very winnable for LSU in the SEC slate. I think at Arkansas is very winnable. I don't think they're going to have very good players. I don't think they hired a great coach. I think at Arkansas is very winnable. I think at Kentucky is very winnable. I know it's on the road, but Kentucky's in transition. Soups is out. And you bring in a Oregon's coordinator to come in. I don't think they're going to have a great roster. And LSU plays Mississippi State this year at home. I think that's going to be very winnable. I'd love one or two of those to be in September, if I'm being honest. It's great to have them in November too, because you feel like you can win them then. But if you're going to slam September with Clemson, Texas, and at Ole Miss, that could be real bumpy here in Baton Rouge. Again, we don't know who's going to be on these rosters. So if you'd have told me 2 years ago LSU was at Indiana, I'd have jumped for joy, and they'd have probably gotten smashed. So I'm not claiming to know anything. I'm just giving you preliminary feelings as to what I'm kind of looking for in this schedule. You want to throw me in at Kentucky in September? I'd like that. Another thing I feel like you're probably going to get, and I mentioned Arkansas, that's going to be the season finale. Our guy Andrew Hutchinson, Best of Arkansas Sports, did some reporting a couple of weeks ago. I can't verify this, but he said in his reporting that the LSU band has already been booked at a Fayetteville hotel. So LSU knows that's coming. So I think that you're going to see LSU, because you don't play Oklahoma next year. That's been your last 2 years. You don't play them next year. You start to look at other teams on your SEC schedule. You play Alabama. You're not playing them at the end of the season. You play Mississippi State. You're not playing them at the end of the season. You play Texas and Texas A&M. You're not playing either of them at the end of the season. You're at Auburn. You're not playing them at the end of the season. You're at Kentucky, who you could play depending on what Louisville and Kentucky decide to do. Traditionally, they did play that game in September and October. They played at the end of the season the last few years, but I don't think you're going to get that. You're not playing Ole Miss at the end of the season, and you're not playing Tennessee at the end of the season. They generally play Vanderbilt. So you're kind of down to Kentucky and Arkansas, and it just makes too much sense for that to be Arkansas. So I think Arkansas is the end of the season. That means your other winnable ones that I kind of like. And your road schedule is pretty manageable to look at. You're at Arkansas, at Auburn, at Kentucky, at Ole Miss, at Tennessee. Ole Miss and Tennessee, I would figure, would be pretty decent, but I don't think the other are going to scare you terribly. This is one of the years where you play 5 road games. You'll play 4 road games the following year. But I think there are some interesting quirks to this and how it will work. And I'm just curious to see how it all shakes out. Somebody's going to cry foul immediately. And to be fair, when the schedule for 2025 was announced, there was a team that kind of had a right to cry foul based on what their schedule said, and it was Texas A&M this year. And all of a sudden you look up, and they look like they had the easiest schedule in the SEC. There was a stretch where Texas A&M was going to have to play 3 consecutive road games. And it turned out it was against Arkansas, who had fired their coach, LSU, who that made them fire their coach, and Missouri, who wasn't as good as we thought. And you thought that some of the other games, like South Carolina, Florida, could be really tough, and it turned out those teams weren't as good. Now, the South Carolina game went off the rails. We know that. But, A&M had a beef because they were getting 3 road games in a row at one point, which seems really, really tough. And it turns out they got the easiest schedule in the SEC by a sizable portion based on how the season actually played out. So we won't know anything for sure coming up tonight. I could take a few things to the bank. Georgia's going to be good next year. They'll have a good team. Beyond that, am I just absolutely stone cold lock with anybody in the SEC? I think Elko will have a good defense and Marcel Reed's back, so A&M should be pretty good, but they got a lot of production to replace. And it's like I've said with South Carolina last year, like I've said with Missouri over the years, like I'm not going to immediately give Mike Elko the credit of like, hey, I know you're going to restock the shelves immediately. Your team will be just as good the next year. Like Saban got that credit, and Kirby's got that credit. And to an extent, like Lane Kiffin kind of earned that in Oxford, where 50 wins in 5 years, top 12 offense every year, like you kind of earned that reputation. That's gone in Oxford now. I can't give Pete Golding that. He might do it, but I can't give him that. So for LSU, I'm looking at some winnable games in September. I think Arkansas will be the closer. Where's the bye week? And I think that's the most fascinating stuff. You know that McNeese kind of represents a little bit of bye there, early October. So you'll keep that in mind. But we'll know LSU's fate at 7 o'clock tonight. We'll certainly write about it at LouisianaSports.net this evening, and we will react to it in the first segment, I'm confident, on tomorrow's show, considering there's not a heck of a lot else going on at this point in LSU football. So, all right, let's take the time out. We'll come back and talk to Chris Blair. That's next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
New sponsor here on the Hunt Palmer Show. They bring you our opening drive every single day. It's Fabry, Chevrolet, and GMC. They're on Highway 61 in St. Francisville. If you're thinking, I know that name, Fabry. Yeah, you know that name, Fabry. They've been in business for 35 years here in Baton Rouge with some other stores. If you're thinking, I know there was a dealership there on 61 in St. Francisville. Well, now it's under new ownership, Fabry, Chevrolet, GMC. So if you're in the market for a vehicle, I know December is a busy car buying month. Tahoe. Very, very popular. They got them. Silverados, if you're looking for a truck, very popular. They got them. On the GMC side, they've got Sierras, they've got Yukons, they've got Denali's. If those are makes, models that you've always wanted to look into, Fabry Chevrolet DMC can help you out there. Highway 61 in St. Francisville. It's the same great family that you've been working with for 35 years. You know them. They're a pillar in our community, and they're just so excited that as of October 1st of this year, they've got this point at Fabry Chevrolet GMC. So take the joint drive to St. Francisville on Highway 61 or check them out online at FabryChevrolet.com. It's FabryChevrolet.com.
With all the delicious chicken finger options, it was an impossible decision.
How about a box combo? Good. Now what can I get for you?
No, I want a Caniac combo with extra cane sauce, no slaw, 2 extra toast, and a half sweet tea, half lemonade.
Celebrate the holidays with Raising Cane's chicken fingers. One love.
Looking for the ultimate game day experience? Come to the Queen Casino in Baton Rouge. Savor game day platters and snacks, plus drink specials at 1717 Kitchen and Cocktail. So come out for game day and let our team make you the MVP. The Queen Casino, where every moment is a win.
My father, J.B. Falgout, had a vision of growth for First American Bank and the communities we serve. The bank's foundation was built on his legacy of compassion, loyalty, and dedication. Through his years of leadership, First American has prospered to heights even J.B. could not have imagined. I know my father would be extremely proud of the customer service and financial stability that First American provides to Southeast Louisiana. We continue to thrive because of the legacy of J.B. Falgout.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool. The first time I saw this beautiful pool, it exceeded every expectation that I had. They were able to get everything we wanted in this pool. It is a beautiful pool. We live out here, we eat out here, we watch TV out here. This is like our living room outside. We love this pool and everything about it. When we decided to build our pool, we called a great friend who is one of the best pool builders in the country in North Louisiana, and we said, who would you choose to build a pool in Baton Rouge? And without a hesitation, he told us Russell Pools. He said their history, tradition of great builds, great pools was unmatched. So of course, who did we call? Russell Pools. The advice I would give to anyone looking to build a pool is first call Russell Pools. They'll do an incredible job. It'll be incredibly organized. It'll be time efficient. And you will have your pool in no time.
Man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Bend Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
Talk to Luke Johnson about the New Orleans Saints as they get ready for the Carolina Panthers. We'll do that in 15 minutes. For now, let's go to the voice of the Tigers. Chris Blair joins us on the Jim's Firearms Hotline. Chris, thanks for the time. How are you?
I'm good, man. Good. Enjoying a little bit of a break here and getting ready for a big hoops matchup. Doubleheader on Saturday over in the Big Easy.
It's going to be fun in the Smoothie King Center coming up on Saturday night. I want to talk about some of the LSU football players that are mentioned for some awards over the last couple of days. Mansour Delane, a finalist for the Thorpe Award. That'll be announced on Saturday night. Of course, LSU's got a rich tradition of having folks win that award and be finalists as well. He's late comer here, his final year of college eligibility, but he had a heck of a go. What did you see from old number 4 this year?
Yeah, I mean, I think we talked about it a couple of weeks ago. I mean, he's the real deal. I mean, you know, when you look back and break down film and you talk to the coaches and they talk about how nobody wanted to throw his way, I mean, it was for obvious reasons. And it seemed like more times than not, when they did, bad things happened to the opponent. So, you know, again, I think he's the best cornerback in the country. And, yeah, maybe I'm biased. But I would think that, and the good news for Mansour is that there's a bunch of front office people and NFL offices all over the country that would probably agree with me. So whether or not he wins the Thorpe, deservedly, I think he should. But if he doesn't, he's going to be a big winner here in a couple of months.
And you've got another one on the other side, DJ Pickett, who won 3, named the National Defensive True Freshman of the Year. When teams want to go away from Mansour Delane, that kind of leaves limited options. He was one of them, and I think he stood pretty tall the last month of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, I know a lot of people saw the announcement today on the new partnership with Nike and this Blue Ribbon Elite NIL program. And I tell you, I was happy to see DJ Pickett's name on that list. But again, I just think the ceiling is so monumental for him. He's just going to get so much better. I mean, we watched him develop as the season went on. I mean, he was highly touted coming in, but to watch what he has done, and then due to injury and just some changes and probably what he did in practice, earned the ability to really be, on the field quite a bit down the last couple of weeks of the season. So another good one in a line of good ones, as you said a moment ago, at LSU, certainly in the defensive backfield.
Trey'Dez Green was honored as an All-SEC selection by the coaches, and that's a guy that I'm excited to see in Lane Kiffin's offense. We've seen one dimension of his game, which is jump high and catch it. I think there's probably more to unlock there. What did you see from Trey'Dez Green in his sophomore season?
Yeah, I think so. And again, also glad he's part of the Nike Blue Ribbon Elite as well. That means good things, I think, moving forward. But, I think you and I talked about it, I want to say midway through the season. There were a couple of times where they actually used Trey'Dez middle of the field or up the seam, and he was able to show what he can do after the catch as opposed to, as you say, which is not a bad thing to be able to just go up in the end zone and get it over everybody else. But I think we saw some flashes of his athleticism and what he can do, with the ball in his hands, just from his sheer athleticism, not just his height. And again, I think the future is going to be great for him. And, as much as I would have loved to have seen him up and down the floor in basketball, I think we're starting to see with the awards and the accolades and the attention that he may have made the right decision for his future.
I don't think there's any doubt about that. No losing 20 pounds running on the basketball court this offseason for Trey'Dez. Let's try to keep that weight on for next football season. LSU chosen to play in the Texas Bowl against Houston coming up on the 27th of December. You've watched college football your whole life, and bowl games have been a big part of that forever. What do you think about the present of bowl games and the future of bowl games at this point?
Well, this is just my opinion, and some people will agree and some people won't, and that's okay. I just think that we're kind of putting off the inevitable here, and we have for the last so many years, certainly since the establishment of the college football playoff. And I understand the tradition. I understand the bowl committees. I understand what it means to those cities and those venues. I get all of that. But we're kind of putting off the inevitable, which is they're going to expand the playoff to what number, and when they stop, who knows. Money will dictate that, just as it has the NCAA basketball tournament, which has continued to grow, and they still talk about growing it even bigger. And so I think, again, maybe these venues will be utilized in an expanded college football playoff, but I think we're just, again, kicking the can down the road. Eventually, a lot of these bowls are going to go away, whether you add 16 teams, whether you eventually go to 24. But the here and now is the bowls are still in place outside of the college football playoff. I think it is foolish for any school basically to not take advantage of, the opportunity to get an extra set of practices. And I know that the portal window will open and there'll be guys who practice for all these teams leading up to the bowl. And then come January, February, they'll all move. That's just part of it. But I think it was silly for schools to say, yeah, no, we're good with the bowl. I think it's smart for LSU to do it. I know fans certainly wanted to be in the college football playoff. I certainly wanted to be in the college football playoff. But those names that we mentioned, Hunt, that we were just discussing, the Trades Greens and the DJ Pickett's of the world, I think it's a benefit to LSU and for Lane Kiffin and his staff once they're all back in Baton Rouge and working towards a common goal, that they got that chance to at least see it, go back, watch the film, whatever the case may be. So, go over there, put a good team together and hopefully try to get a win against a Houston team that I know personally is really invested in playing well on the 27th. So hopefully LSU is going to match it and supersede that.
Yeah, it looks to me like on paper at least that both teams are taking it relatively seriously. There'll be opt-outs here and there, but I think it's not going to be lopsided like LSU Kansas State or on the other side LSU Purdue were in back-to-back years where that was just not any fun to watch on either side. Get up by 70, down by 40 with no quarterback. Just not a lot of entertainment value in that. Hopefully this one is better. Let's talk a little hoops. Obviously very disappointing on Sunday in Fort Worth. I was excited to sit down and watch it, and it was just never really competitive. Was that just a 2-hour thing, or is that indicative of LSU maybe beating up on some inferior teams early on?
Well, I mean, I think the jury's still out, Hunt, and I'd say you probably agree with me in the sense that LSU had not really faced a team like Texas Tech and a team like they will face on Saturday with SMU. But it's a trend that I know is a little concerning simply because even with the win at Boston College, and I credit LSU and I credit Coach McMahon. I mean, they did it with defense and rebounding down the stretch in the second half and then really put it to work in overtime. But it wasn't a great performance offensively. And then it was a dreadful performance offensively this past time out against Texas Tech. And I think it was started because we all kind of felt like the strength of LSU through the first 7-8 games was the fact that they had really good backcourt play and really good frontline play. But it didn't come to the forefront on Saturday against a team that also could match them. Christian Anderson was a beast, and it was very early on that we had no answer for him, especially on the offensive end. And I think, Texas Tech did what good teams and good coaches do. They adjusted very early on to how they were going to approach Mike Nwoko and the rest of the front line for LSU. They made things very difficult, A, to get to the paint, and B, to be able to operate around the rim. I think that will continue again, just, getting the study on SMU the last couple of days. Their backcourt is phenomenal. I mean, the numbers just come jumping off the page. I mean, B.J. Edwards, the former Tennessee Volunteer, his freshman year is setting records. I mean, unbelievable records, triple doubles, almost on a regular basis. They got the kid from New Orleans, Pierre, who's a scoring machine. So I think I'm not going to say that SMU and Texas Tech are carbon copies, but the same concerns I would have going into the Red Raiders game last week in a neutral site is kind of the same concerns I have if you're LSU going into this matchup with SMU. And I would add, I think SMU as a team is probably a tad bit better. Now, I say all that to say LSU we've seen can put the ball in the cylinder. I have argued for years, having grown up around the sport, that even if you're on the floor by yourself, it's hard to shoot 55, 60% or higher. So we know LSU can put the ball in the cylinder. They're going to have to do it Saturday because I think SMU is a team that will love to push this game to the 90s, just the way Texas Tech did. And LSU, I think, has the capability, but they've got to be much more efficient on the offensive end. And they really can't have, DJ be kind of taken out. Things were very hard for him last week against Texas Tech. Didn't have the flow, and LSU never had the rhythm, as you pointed out.
So you kind of answered it there, but I'll drill down a little bit deeper on, how important do you think perimeter shooting is going to be for this LSU offense?
I think it's huge because, again, I think we got a blessing that Nwoko in and around the rim is as good as he is. I didn't know that. I mean, I watched him at Mississippi State, and I thought he was a great rim protector. I think he was a big body, but they just didn't utilize him as a scorer. I think LSU does that, and that's a good thing. But I think that the perimeter shooting has to be there. And look, if you look at the criticism over the last so many years for LSU basketball, it's been the inability to have perimeter shooting, consistent perimeter shooting. And everybody knows that. Coach McMahon knows that. I mean, that's why he went and got the pieces that he got this year. Is Saturday's offensive output and the game against Boston College an anomaly? I tend to think so at this point, Hunt, and the reason is because they had not faced a team that could go toe-to-toe with them in those categories statistically. Does it mean they can't play with them? No, it means they've got to adjust and really be able to handle the uptick in competition. Will that happen? We'll get a little bit of a picture of it come Saturday, but that's why I'm still holding out, that I'm not forgetting the fact that this team can score the basketball. I think they've got to get adjusted to a physical style game because they're going to see it Saturday and they're going to see it every single game in the SEC. And while the SEC may not be as talented overall as they are a year ago, it's still a league that is physical, and they're physical guards. They get right into you, chest to chest. They make things difficult to operate. So I'm still optimistic that LSU just has to make that type of adjustment. In fact, that's what Coach McMahon told us after the game Saturday. He said, these guys have to understand it's not always going to be Tarleton State that's on the other side of the floor.
Yeah, I'm hopeful that it was a bit of an aberration with Tech making 8 of 9 threes to start and LSU not being able to throw it in the ocean. But they got to prove something on Saturday against SMU, or they're going to lose a lot of confidence, I think, with the fan base at this point. So we'll see. LSU and SMU coming up from the Smoothie King Center, part of a doubleheader down there in New Orleans. What's coming up on the network over the next 4 weeks? I know they got the holidays, bowl game, Matt McMahon show coming up. So what's coming up?
Yeah, well, we'll do more. We're in the overlap season still, but we'll still start to transition more to basketball. But yeah, January 5th, the first week of January, we'll start having our weekly shows with Coach McMahon and Coach Kim Mulkey week to week at TJ Rib. So again, invite everybody to come out there, and we do allow people to ask questions. You have to submit them, but if you've got a question for either of the coaches, feel free to come to TJ's. I certainly love it when people give me questions. Makes my job a lot easier.
We'll see first week of January. We'll catch up next week. Thanks, Chris.
You got it.
Chris Blair, voice of the Tigers. I'll talk a little bit more about LSU and SMU tomorrow. I just think it's a big game. I do. I thought last Sunday was very interesting going into the game, and we know what the result was. This is important for LSU. You go out there and you get your butt kicked on Saturday, you're going to have red alarms going off everywhere. If you hold your own, win the game, I think you might have steadied the ship, and you can look at Sunday and go, that's an aberration. I know that there are a lot of people who say, well, I don't even care right now. Just talk about recruiting class and talk about baseball, like whatever. But I'm hopeful that LSU's basketball team can make the next couple of months interesting. I'm hopeful. Didn't say I guaranteed it. Didn't say that I'm optimistic. I'm hopeful. And I think Saturday goes a little bit of ways to determining who you are and what you are. So we'll see. We'll come back, talk some Saints with Luke Johnson next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Highland Insurance Group, HighlandIG.com is the website. Look, January 1st, a lot of renewals. And at this point, you're getting late in that process for a renewal. But if you've got a commercial property and casualty renewal coming up, you would like a second option, you're not thrilled with the terms that have come back, the Howland Insurance Group is happy to help you out with this. They are experts technically. If you want to pick up the phone and call the Howland Insurance Group and say, hey, I need you to cut 20% off this premium, it's killing me, that's probably not realistic, not in keeping the coverages that you need. But if you want to call them and say, hey, I'm not sure how this reads or if it's actually placed correctly, I'm not sure if I have what I need, they can make sure you have that. They can make sure your coverages are right. They are with the proper carriers. They're an independent broker. That means they've got contracts with dozens of carriers. They can shop and make sure that your coverage is right for the right premium. They know that premium is important to their clients. It's important to them too. But making sure that you're not paying a good premium and then not covered, that is the worst. That'll never happen at the Howland Insurance Group. Contact Jonathan Carbo and his team there. They're here in Baton Rouge. They can help you out statewide. They will make sure your commercial program is right where it needs to be at the price it needs to be. It's the Howland Insurance Group. They're online at highlandig.com.
After a decade of working in private duty nursing, I know how hard it can be to find compassionate care for the ones that you love the most. So I started Decision Critical, a premier concierge nursing agency, so we can take care of you wherever you are. Our highly skilled nurses provide exceptional care from the comfort of your own home with personalized packages for short-term, long-term, or even around-the-clock care. Visit us at decisioncriticalbr.com and give us a call today to get started.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar, but instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
I'm Lawyer Locke Meredith. We are honored and humbled to receive from our clients in Google, based on 5-star client reviews, the designation of our law firm is highly recommended. Whether you hire us at all, please give us a call, 272-5555. You have nothing to lose.
Hi, I'm Mitchell Meredith. Injuries happen when you least expect them to, making your life more complicated. At Locke Meredith Sean Fagan and Associates, we know this and we strive to help each of our clients during these times. Whether you hire us at all, give us a call at 272-5555.
We typically think of stress as being bad for us. At Our Lady of the Lake and LSU, we are researching how certain types of stress, such as exercise, can be good for our immune health. By studying people under extreme stress, such as athletes, astronauts, service members, and first responders, we're learning how to improve the immune health of everyone. That's the power of research. That's the impact of champions. Together, we roar.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
Thursday shows brought to you by Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. Some of the best beef in the country. Right here just outside Baton Rouge at Sagrera Farms. Let's talk some Saints. They'll take on the Panthers coming up on Sunday. Luke Johnson covers the black and gold for The Advocate and NOLA.com. Joins us on the Jim's Farms Hotline. Luke, how we doing?
Doing fantastic, my man. Thank you for having me on.
It is our pleasure. That was solid effort back last week in Tampa. What was your biggest takeaway from it?
I mean, I think that was their best win of the season, which I know is not really saying a whole lot since I have three options to choose from here, but let's call it their best performance of the season, top to bottom. I think special teams still a work in progress for this team, but you start this game off with a 55-yard kick return from Mason Tipton, who I think has done a nice job as a returner since they traded for Rashid Shaheed. You get an opening drive touchdown for only the second time all year, first time in forever, first time since September for that team. And then it just continued kind of down that track. Obviously, we're still waiting on this team to put together a really, truly explosive offensive performance. But when you're playing in the elements, and you got a rookie quarterback going up against a team that has dominated the division for 4 years, and he makes just a crazy play in the fourth quarter to give you the go-ahead touchdown. I went and looked at it after the game. They've had 30 drives inside the final 10 minutes of the fourth quarter since Drew Brees retired. 30 opportunities to take a lead with a touchdown, and they've had 5 touchdowns in those 30 drives. Right? This was the 5th. And this is only the second time that they've actually held on to that go-ahead score and won the game. That feels meaningful. It feels meaningful to have Shuck converting a couple third downs on that 4-minute drive. Obviously, they weren't able to close out the clock, but he's extending that clock by an extra minute and a half, 2 minutes by hitting Devon Bailey twice on that drive. It's incredibly encouraging to see the defense, which I think has played very well over the last month or so, to shut the game down on the final drive. Tampa needs to go 80 yards for a touchdown. They don't even get 10. I just think there was so much from that game that you have to feel really good about it in the future. Obviously, this Saints team is not going to the playoffs this year. They've been eliminated for a couple of weeks now. But, there's some real stuff here that you can feel very, very confident about going into 2026.
Stick with Shuck. It's obviously the biggest storyline. Do you feel he is doing enough from inside the pocket? I love the scramble plays, and he's got that in the bag, but you got to win from the pocket. How do you feel that's progressing?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, he is not a finished product yet. But I think the in-structure plays are there for him. And I think he's done a nice job of that. I just referenced those 2 third-down conversions. Both of those plays, he's standing tall in the pocket. He's got pressure in his face, pressure down by his feet. On one of those throws to Bailey, he's got, his arm gets clipped by a defensive lineman, and he still makes the play. The stuff out of structure, out of pocket, the scramble stuff is stuff that you need quarterbacks to do in the modern NFL. Peyton Manning is one of the best quarterbacks in NFL history. If you drop them into today's NFL, you'd be limited because of what you need quarterbacks to do in this era. But you also need to be able to win from the pocket. And that is something that I think is a clear upgrade between Shuck and say Spencer Rattler earlier this year, is the within structure plays are there and can be made. It can be better, yes, but you can see the stuff there now 5 starts into his career. I think that's going to be something that we see continue to progress.
How do you explain how well the Saints ran the ball on Sunday against Tampa?
I don't want to make this like a Tyler Shuck segment, but I do think that opens up stuff for the rest of the team, right? When you have a quarterback who's able to take a read option around the left end for a 34-yard touchdown, or an 11-yard scramble earlier, an 11-yard design run earlier in the game, that does force the defense to account for him in the run game. And I think, as soon as you saw him hit that big run with Shuck for a touchdown, the very next drive, Devin Neal's getting a 21-yarder. I think that helps. I don't think this is something that we're going to be able to count on over the rest of the year, just because that's, I think, only the 4th time this year the Saints have topped 100 yards on the ground. Their interior line is still kind of a mess. I think their scheme could really use take it under the hood, look at it under a magnifying glass, whatever term you want to use for their run scheme. I think they need to take a hard look at it this offseason, because it just has not worked this year. And I don't think you can really just say our running backs aren't explosive. I think there's a lot of stuff that goes into that. But I think the threat of Shuck as a runner opens stuff up for the other guys. which is why I'd like to see like a little bit more of it, right? Just more consistently using that aspect of Tyler's game. Not a lot more of it. Obviously, he had 4 season-ending injuries in college, and a lot of that was when he was in run-heavy offenses. Like, I don't think he needs to be carrying the ball 10, 11 times a game. But, like, 3 or 4 design runs, I think I feel pretty good about it, especially if the messaging to Shuck is clear, where you're saying, hey, like, Jeff Duncan said this on our podcast the other day. It's touchdown, first down, or get down, Don't try to go out and play hero ball. I think if they can do that, it'll open more stuff up for their offense. That includes the passing game too.
Luke Johnson's our guest, covers the Saints for theadvocate.NOLA.com with us on Thursdays. All right, let's shift forward to Carolina. Obviously, the Saints got a nice win in Charlotte. That's when I kind of thought Carolina was not good at all, and I don't feel that way anymore. How do you feel about this Panthers team?
I have no idea what to make of them, man.
Okay.
Like, I really don't. I mean, they go out. They got really manhandled in that Saints game, and it's not the first time that they've like been beaten by a bad team this year. But then, and then they beat the Rams the last time out. They've beaten the Packers. Like they've beaten some really really good teams this year, and I just like they feel to me like a complete Jekyll and Hyde team, which kind of makes a lot of sense. They get a second-year head coach. They got a really young roster. Who knows what it's going to be week to week. But I think this specific Saints team has kind of played them tough, or even you go back to week 1 of last year where they beat the brakes off them. I think Bryce Young has kind of struggled against this defense. Like, I could see this being a competitive game. I could also see the Panthers being like, oh, like the NFC South is up for us, and we're going to put together a good game plan and go out and beat the brakes off the Saints. Like, there's such a wide range of outcomes for this game because like the Panthers have just been like an impossible team to predict from week to week.
Brandon Staley's group's getting a little bit better. They were obviously great in Charlotte, and they were very good last week in the rain in Tampa. What's object number 1 against this Carolina team?
I mean, with them, I think it always has to be, it's got to start with stopping their run game, which is exactly what they did in that Week 10 game. Going into that game, I mean, I'm sure everybody remembers Rico Dowdle was like the story of the league at that point. He's averaging like 130 rushing yards per game in like his 5 games going into that game, and they shut him down. And when you force Bryce Young to beat you, I think that's a matchup you want to be in. But I think they've kind of turned it back into more of a committee approach at running back, and I think this Saints defense is well suited to stopping a guy like Rico Dowdle. They're a physical unit that tackles pretty well. I think when we've seen them have a little bit more issues against the run, it's against the more explosive types of backs. So if Chuba Hubbard is the lead back in this game, maybe they can find a little bit more success there. The Panthers, I mean. And make this to where it's not just like, hey, Bryce Young, go beat this secondary that's allowing 130 yards per game in the last 5 games. I think that to me is the key to this. Is they got to keep that ground game under control and force Bryce Young to beat him.
How many do you think they win in the last 4?
I'm going to go 2.
Okay.
I'm going to go 2-2 down the stretch. I think that feels right. I think get them to 5 wins, which is, I think, right about what I had them pegged at the beginning of the season. So, look, to me, it's just about, like, does Tyler Shuck continue to show he's the guy? Like, can you feel good about bits and pieces of this team to know you have stuff to build around going into the future? That's all that's important. I don't think the win total really matters at the end of the season. Just show me that you have some really good foundational pieces.
You can follow him on Twitter @ByLukeJohnson. You can read all his stuff in the Advocate and NOLA.com. He'll be there in the Dome on Sunday. Saints and Panthers from New Orleans. Thanks, Luke.
My pleasure, buddy. Talk to you soon.
Sure will. That is Luke Johnson with us every single Thursday. Our Thursday show is brought to you by Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. Look, I was talking to Sean today, as I mentioned in the first hour, and look, the herd density in Louisiana, in the country, is at the same inventory levels it was at in about the 50s. You know that our population's increased significantly since then. So you look at supply and demand, beef prices going up. It happens. If you are going to pay a premium price, which everyone is for beef, well, why don't you get a premium product? That's what Sagrera Farms will offer you. I tell you all the time, the IMF score is how you see whether or not a product is prime. If it's 0 to 3, you're talking about select. If it's 3 to 6, which 60% of the beef is, that's choice. Talking about north of 8, that's prime. Sagrera Farms has cows on their farm right now, 13, 15, 17, 20. More than twice the standard of prime. So fill your freezer. Get a whole cow, get a side, get a quarter, and make sure that you've got some of the best beef at a reasonable price in your freezer whenever you need it. Fillets, ribeyes, strips, flanks, ground beef. It's all there from Sagrera Farms. They bring you our Thursday shows each and every week. Take one more time out, close it out next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Bank and Trust, First American Bank and Trust, started up in 1910, still here 115 years later. You know, you've got big national options for banking. We know that. And you may have an issue and you make a phone call and it's to some call center in Atlanta or San Francisco or wherever the case may be. And maybe you get somebody on the phone, maybe you get a recording. You're not really sure who makes a decision for that national bank. Well, I don't know, but I can tell you at First American National Bank and Trust, First American Bank and Trust, is you're going to get a local decision made. You're going to speak to someone local when you make that phone call. You stop into one of their 25 locations throughout Southeast Louisiana, you're going to deal with people who are right here in your community. Doesn't matter if you're Dutchtown, Hammond, St. John Parish, St. James Parish, Tangipahoa Parish, St. Tammany. I was down there in Orleans. First American Bank and Trust down there as well. And you might say, well, why would I do business with a local bank? Do they really have the resources I need? They absolutely do. They have 25 locations. So if you're looking for a commercial loan, you're looking for a personal loan, residential loan, First American Bank and Trust should be the phone call that you make. As I mentioned, all their decisions are made locally by people in our community. It's First American Bank and Trust.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
In South Louisiana, you can always count on good people coming together to help our children.
At Dreams Come True, we grant wishes for Louisiana children with life-threatening illnesses. But to do this, we need funds.
That's why we're trying to raise $100,000 for Dreams Come True by giving away the Blessed Builders Pool.
Make your backyard's dream come true while helping our kids.
Just go to dreampoolla.com and you can find out how your $25 donation might help win you a Duplessis pool.
Most roofers just replace your shingles. At Pelican, we diagnose your roof, digging deep down to find the root cause of your roof symptoms. Now cough for me. Good. We don't ignore your roof's issues, we address them. Let's just take care of this right here. Helping your roof to become the best version of itself. Interesting that you would say that. How does that make you feel? So call Pelican Roofing for your free roof checkup today.
I'm Gabrielle McLeod on behalf of the Louisiana Propane Dealers. I have spent hundreds of hours preparing for scholarship competitions. That preparation paid off when I won the Fitness and Talent Awards along with the title of Miss Louisiana. The Louisiana Propane Dealers are also pretty talented and want you to be prepared for when the power goes out. Visit louisianapropane.com to find out about propane generators and other safety tips. Louisiana Propane, it truly is the fuel for our future.
My father, J.B. Falgout, had a vision of growth for First American Bank and the communities we serve. The bank's foundation was built on his legacy of compassion, loyalty, and dedication. Through his years of leadership, First American has prospered to heights even J.B. could not have imagined. I know my father would be extremely proud of the customer service and financial stability that First American provides to Southeast Louisiana. We continue to thrive because of the legacy of J.B. Falgout.
I'm lawyer Collins Locke Meredith. Among the most important factors to consider when you're hiring an injury attorney is trust. You trust your attorney will put your interest first, treat you with respect, fairness, and honesty. You trust them to be there for you when you need them. At Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
Closing things up here, Thursday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show, presented by Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. Got a final from the Superdome down in New Orleans. Haynesville 39, Mangum 37. Golden Tornado, first state title since 2014. Isaiah Washington just signed on the dotted line with LSU. Has a couple of touchdowns on offense. Also a pick six for Isaiah Washington in that game. When I was a kid up in North Louisiana, Haynesville was an absolute power in 1A football. And it's been a minute since they've gotten back and been able to win a state championship, but they do so on the back of Isaiah Washington. They beat Mangum, as I mentioned, 39-37. So off and running down there from the Dome. Haynesville, a state champion. So congrats to the Tours down in the Big Easy. All right, take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Presented to you by Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer, crafted by America's oldest brewery. Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
18 state titles for Haynesville. They are a power. It's been a minute, though. Light by Yingling, next generation of light beer, getting close to the weekend. If you're ready to start your weekend a little early, how about doing it with America's next generation of light beer? It's Flight by Yingling. It's only got 95 calories, 2.6 carbs, plus packs all that flavor you're looking for in a cold, cold beer. The oldest brewery in America, Yingling. It's Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer.
Okay, let's start it off with 36-year-old Cam Newton said on the 4 from 1 with Cam Newton show that 44-year-old Phillip Rivers signing with the Colts was, and I quote, almost like a slap to my face. Should Cam Newton have gotten the call? Take it or leave it?
I'll leave it.
Leave it alone.
As Phillip Rivers said when they asked him how much he weighs, he's like, I don't know. I hadn't weighed myself. I'm not going to be running anywhere anyway. Cam kind of relied on a little bit of dynamic athleticism in his football playing career, which may not quite be there at this point.
Oh, no, it's gone.
I'm not here suggesting that I know Phillip Rivers is a better quarterback today than Cam Newton. I don't think either one of them needs to be playing quarterback in the NFL today. But I don't know if it's a slap in the face to Cam. I think he's just maybe playing it up for the Cam.
Yeah, enjoy your free time, Cam. You don't need to be going out there. So, staying on the Phillip Rivers train, Denver Broncos quarterback Sam Ehlinger turned down an opportunity to return to the Indianapolis Colts as a team searched for a solution to replace Daniel Jones. Ehlinger, who spent his first 4 seasons of his NFL career with the Colts before joining the Broncos practice squad, he told the Denver Post that basically he will weighing decisions, but I'd rather stay with Denver as the practice squad quarterback. So being a practice squad quarterback over the starting quarterback, take it or leave it.
I'm going to leave that. I mean,
Leave it alone.
You're not going to make anybody think that you can be a starter or backup on the practice squad.
Never.
Your only chance to convince anybody of it is to go play.
Go play.
And I don't know if you're going to be able to play or not in Indianapolis. Maybe you can win and play the last 2 or 3 games, but you're not going to get much. Maybe a Super Bowl ring if you're on the practice squad for Denver.
Maybe,
but if you're looking to play, then you probably need to go play and not practice.
I think this might have been one of the first times we've seen a practice squad guy reject a roster spot and just stay on the practice squad for a team. I don't think I've ever seen that before. So Sam Ehlinger said, see you later to Indianapolis. So Oklahoma City Thunder, who I kind of hate at the moment,
I was going to ask you about the Thunder.
Oh, yeah. Well, because the time is now. So they're currently sitting at 24-1 after smashing the Phoenix Suns last night. OKC hasn't lost in 5 weeks. So they're on pace currently to have 70-plus wins this season, if not break the league's single-season record at 73 wins set by the Golden State Warriors 2015-2016. So will OKC win 74 games this season? Take it or leave it?
I'm going to leave it. Just by the math, I got to leave it. But goodness gracious.
Yeah,
that effort last night, that's like varsity on JV is what it looked like. Now, the court's very ugly. I don't want to look at that court.
Yeah.
But the team is not. That's a nasty group.
It's scary, man. And
are they better on offense or defense? I think they're better on defense, but it's close.
They play defense like a college team. Like, it's full court press. They're pressing you. They're trying to cause turnovers. But what's really scary about all this, Hunt, is that the fact that they have a couple picks in the lottery because of the Clippers that landed them Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, almost 10 years ago, coming up on that. So, yeah, you got a team that might repeat and still get a top 10 pick. Sam Presti, genius of geniuses. So
he's the best.
He's the best, and they're 24-1. That speaks.
Gail should hire him. Give him a call, Gail. Sam Presti.
He would hang up. Don't even call him.
We got better food than Oklahoma City. What are they famous for?
We got better food, but you're getting the food after the Saints. So now you get the scraps of what the Saints get. So stay over there, Sam. We don't come get ruined. So that's it for take it or leave.
Mick Cronin's in rare mid-season form. UCLA's head coach. They're playing at 8:30 p.m. against Gonzaga, and Mick Cronin's quote was, "Don't get me started. Trying to stay positive, but it's ridiculous. Why don't we just play at midnight? I mean, what are we doing? It's so disappointing. It's so crazy. Let's do it at 11:30. My dad's real happy." Mick doesn't like playing at 8:30.
But because they're on the West Coast. So he's talking about like for the East Coast people that are trying to watch or whatnot.
I don't know what he's complaining about. It seems like a reasonable tip top.
You're on the West Coast, bro. What you expect?
Mick's mad.
Yeah,
Mick stays mad. He's mad a lot. Good coach, though. That's it for us on a Thursday, brought to you by Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. If you missed any of the show, talked about LSU's new partnership with Nike, talked about Frank Wilson and whether or not he should remain on staff to those that hunt on LSU. We talked about Luke Johnson, about the Saints and what they can do coming up on Sunday against the Panthers that hunt on Saints. LSU's schedule coming out tonight on SEC Network at 7 o'clock. We'll react to that on tomorrow's show. That's up for us, though. Matt's going to drive you home next one after Further View. We'll see you tomorrow for a Friday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Lifetime Roofing. Baton Rouge-based roofing company. Serves the entire state, though, so no matter where you are in our listening area in the state of Louisiana, even over in Houston, Lifetime Roofing can help you out. Check out the website, lifetimeroofingla.com. They can certainly come do a free inspection. Just look and see if there's anything that may need to be done to your roof. Could be a repair, could be a replacement. They can help you figure that out and give you that peace of mind at Lifetime Roofing. Your home is potentially your biggest investment. People that live under that roof, pretty important to you. Take your roofing seriously. The folks at Lifetime Roofing absolutely do. They offer roof replacements, repairs, tune-ups, as I mentioned, and they're actively hiring one of the only legitimate W-2 roofing companies in the entire state of Louisiana. It comes with benefits, 401k. So if you're looking for a job, got some experience roofing, and want to get into that, Lifetime Roofing can help you out with that. Check them out online at lifetimeroofingla.com, lifetimeroofingla.com.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they cradle and cool